Now then, welcome to the channel, Lake District and Whinlatter Forest area. We parked at Spout Force car park, and the intention today is to do 5 Wainwrights, and I think it's 3 Birketts. I'm not entirely sure about that. So the Wainwrights, we're going to do a Whinlatter, Barf, Lord's Seat, Broom and Greystones. And the Birketts are the other summit of Whinlatter. And I think Tarbarrel Moss, I think, is a Birkett. And another one whose name I've forgotten. Hause, is it, or something like that? And I can't remember. Anyway, all the details will be on the information page at the end. But I know the 5 Wainwrights we're doing anyway. Right, let's have a quick look at the route. So that track that we've just passed there, that's going to be our return route. After we've done Greystones up there, we're going to retrace our steps a bit back to this col called Hause, and then back down this track. It's a route I've never tried. When I've done Greystones before, I've just come straight down the steep flank there, but I saw Andrew Foster come down this way, so I thought, yeah, we'll have a go at that, because it's a bit of a nightmare coming straight down that steep flank. So yeah, we have done all these fells before, both Charlie and myself, so it's just second time rounders for us. And the forecast for the high fells wasn't particularly brilliant, and it's less than an hour's drive for us to get here, so thought we'd do some second time rounders. Yeah, I don't know about the forecast. Met Office said cloudy and dry with sunny spells, and the other forecast that I looked at, I can't remember the website, but you can put the names of the hills that you're interested into it, and that said showery all day, so we might catch a shower on our way around, but I don't think it'll be much really. Hopefully not anyway. Right, so we continue along this track, and we're looking out for a rusty tank on the right hand side, and when we get to that, we pick up a faint path that leads up through the trees onto Brown Hause, which is the Wainwright summit of Whinlatter. So on we go along this track. So just past that signpost there for footpath that drops down into the little valley and goes straight up to Lord's Seat. If you wanted a shorter route, you could do that. If you didn't want to do Whinlatter and Barf and Broom straight up to Lord's Seat. That's not for us. We're doing the 9 miler today. So we continue along this track. So here we are at this rusty tank. Keep your eyes peeled for this if you come in, because it's easily missed. So we're off up through the trees and onto the open fell side. So you're not in the trees very long before you pop out onto the open fell side. Oh, between fence and wall there. That's got me warmed up coming up here. Oh, right, so we continue up here to Hause, which is the Wainwright Whinlatter summit, and then from there over to the true top, which is the Birketts summit. Right, up we go. So we climbed over the fence, and when we reached the crest there, you turn left, and then you start the climb up to Hause. Nice and quiet, and you can see behind us, if I turn you around this way, kind of the ridge all the way around. That's pretty much our route for the day. Yeah, right round, and that's the last one, grey stones, and down this track here. Right, upwards we go. Charlie's waiting for me. So here we are on Hause, which is the Wainwrights summit of Whinlatter. We're going to carry on to the Birketts summit over there, and you can see that way as we approach the shelter. I've dropped down into the shelter. It's blowing an absolute hoolie up here, but you can see as we approach the shelter other side, looking over to Coaldale Fells and Grisdale Pike clagged in. When I checked the Met Office forecast last night, Grisdale Pike visibility was excellent all day long. I'm going to stop using Met Office forecast, I think. Let me know which ones you use and how you rate them, but it's certainly not excellent over there. I mean, we're all right here, we've got decent views. The cloud base isn't as low as us, and all our ridge that we're going to do, that's all clear at the moment. Right, so I'm going to stand up and brave the gales, and we're going to head on over to the Birketts summit. So we just passed over the Birketts summit of Whinlatter, and now we're going to drop down back into the trees at Tarbarrel Moss, which I think is another Birkett. I'm not entirely sure. The top of it is right in the corner of the fence where you enter the trees again. So yeah, I can't remember if that's a Birkett. Like I say, I'll put all the details will be on the screen at the end. And behind us, Grisdale Pike. It keeps coming and going. So yeah, it might clear as the day goes on. All our fell tops are nice and clear. Right, so down we go, back into the trees at Tarbarrel Moss. So where we're going is up there, that corner of the trees. That's the summit of Tarbarrel Moss. So we have to drop down into the valley and then climb back up the other side. So we branched off that path as it started to contour around the head of the valley, and we've come up pathless, carried on in our straight line, heading up towards Tarbarrel Moss. It's lovely. And that's looking back down the track that we walked up, and we branched off through the trees and up onto Whinlatter, and then we've just come down there, and that Grisdale Pike is starting to clear a bit now. Right, on we go back into the trees, Tarbarrel Moss. So here we are, top of Tarbarrel Moss. When we got to this fence line, picked up a path. Now I did notice as we were coming down Whinlatter, there was a path went off to the right and stuck to higher ground. Now I don't know if that eventually joins up with this path and comes over here rather than going off-piste in a straight line like we did. But that was fine. It was just grassy. It wasn't really boggy until we got to the end bit here. Just before we got onto the path, there was a bit of dampness. It was fine. So we go through this gate down here and back into the trees and to our next hill, which I'm not sure what it is. I'll have to have a look on map. Right, so through this gate and into the trees. So we dropped down through the trees onto this forest track, and I think we follow this for quite a while before we branch off and go up to Hause, which I think is another Birkett, but I won't swear by it. I have been over it before, and there must have been a reason for me to go over it before, so it could be a Birkett. And we drop down. We just scoot round below another one called Ullister Hill. I think that's a Birkett as well. Don't quote me on these. Right, so we'll saunter along this forest track for a bit. Well, we actually had a little bit of a diversion back there. Me being the trained navigator, as I always say. took the wrong fork at that junction back there. But we've come to the end of the forest track now, and we're on this path that leads us up to Hause. Right, hopefully we're going the right way. This way, Charlie. This way. So here we are on Hause. Bit of a treacherous path that coming along bottom. Loads of mountain bikers on it. That's a good view. Looking over to Derwent Water there, look. Over to the Dodds and Helvellyn. That's a bit hazy, but hang on, let's have a look. I'll just stick it on the camera. So that's looking up to Grisdale Pike, which is clear at the moment. Don't know how long that'll last. And looking down to Causey Pike, High Spy, Maiden Moor and Cat Bells. And looking over Derwent Water to, what's that, Blaeberry Fell, isn't it? And like I say, the other side of that there's Helvellyn, which is a bit hazy, and you can just start to make out the Dodds and Clough Head. You see Great Melfell and Little Melfell, and then getting over to the northern fells behind the trees, but they're all clagged in. Right, so I think it's quiet up here, we're going to have coffee and a chew. So we've just left our planned route for a bit, and we're descending on the Hause Summit Trail. It's a waymarked path, so I'm hoping this will take us back down onto the forest track that's our intended route, and then we head off over to Barf, which will be our second Wainwright of the day. Right, so on we go, following this trail, and see where it brings us to. So we're back on our intended route now on this forest track. Just cut a corner off coming down there. It was very pleasant coming through those woods as well. And it looks as if we might be getting a bit of blue sky up there. It's getting warm, I know that. I don't know if legs might have to come off. The other day when we were up Bow Fell, I got blooming sunburnt back in my legs. It was a really nice day. And the following day, it absolutely hammered down and blew a gale. British weather, it's great, isn't it? Right, we'll continue along this track. Cheers. So that's Barf, our next objective. And it's turning out to be a lovely day now. And look over that way. Skidder's clagged in, we just see the bottom end of Bassenthwaite Lake. I think Skidder might clear as the day goes on if it warms up like this. Right, so we drop down a bit to cross a stream and then head up there. The heather's looking lovely at the moment, isn't it? Right, down we go. So that's Barf done. Oh, and it's a bit breezy up here. That's a good view over Bassenthwaite, isn't it? And Skidder, which is just cleared. Right, so we're going to get out of the wind and find somewhere for lunch, I think. Well, that's Lord's Seat done, and I've not done much filming. It's blowing an absolute hoolie up here. We've not stopped for lunch yet, just can't get out at wind. I'll just pop you onto the camera and show you where we're going. Oh, so I don't know if you can hear me in this wind, but that's where we're off next. So that's Broom Fell, and then we're going over that ridge and then up to Greystones and back down into that valley to pick up the forest track back to the car. All right, onwards to Broom Fell. Oh, sorry, Charlie. Go on. So here we are on Broom Fell. It's still blowing a hoolie. Right, I was going to have lunch in the shelter, but it's been occupied. So we'll have to find somewhere else for lunch. I've just noticed my sit mat has blown away. It's on fence over here. Well, those people have just left the shelter, so we've slotted ourselves in. Oh, out of the wind, and it's lunchtime. So we've had lunch, and we're now going to drop down into that Widow Hause before we go up onto Greystones and then back on ourselves to Widow Hause to go back through the plantation. And this is new path for us, never been on this bit of path before, and it's still windy. See over there, Grisdale Pike has cleared. I bet it's breezy on top of there today. Right, so onwards we go to this Widow Hause. Well, here we are down in Widow Hause, and there's been a change of plan. That's Greystones up there. You might just be able to make it out over this broken wall up there. I'm not going up there. It's nice and quiet down here. The wind's dropped and we're out at wind, and it's doing me head in, his wind, so I'm not going to bother going up there. We're just going to over this new stile here and then pick up the path that drops down to that forest track. So I've done the greystones. I'm not sure, well obviously Charlie's done it, and I can't remember if I've done it twice. I think I have, because I'd have gone up it a second time with Charlie, and there's a Birkett the other side of it that we did as well. So I've done it twice, Charlie's done it, so we're going to stay out at wind and get over this stile. That's a nice view over there to Grisdale Pike now, isn't it, now that it's cleared up. Right, over this stile and down through the forest. This way, Charlie. Well, I did better with that dog gate at that stile than I did with the one on Broom Fell. I nearly dropped it on poor Charlie's head. I've done that before. Oh, it slipped out my hands, innit? Right, this is again new territory for us coming down here, so we'll see what this is like. So I saw this, I saw Andrew Foster come down this way, and I thought, oh, we'll give that a go, rather than going straight down the steep flank of greystones. Right, down we go. Charlie, this way, fella. This way. So we're heading down this forest track now, and it bends round to the right and then goes up a bit, and then can you see just there, just between that gap in the trees, that's where it meets up with our outward route. Yeah, good way to come down that. I'm glad we didn't bother going up greystones. I'd had enough of that wind. Very pleasant. Down we go. So that's us, back on our outward track, and we've only half a mile, if that, to go back to the car now, so I'm going to sign off. We've really enjoyed it. It's been good, nice and quiet. Mostly it was a bit busy between Barf and Broom Fell, but the rest of it we've hardly seen anybody. There was a couple of dog walkers on this track when we set off, but once we branched off at that rusty tank, we didn't see anybody until really the mountain bikers around Whinlatter on the way up to Hause. That was a bit dodgy with Charlie, mountain bikers. But no, it's been good, and it's a lovely day now. The sun's come out. I'm glad we didn't go up to greystones. That wind, it had done me head in. Well, it was doing me head in. So no, been a good route. And if you wanted to shorten it, like I said up there, rather than going up over Whinlatter, you could take that footpath that just goes straight up to Lord's Seat. That'd be good. And for greystones, I'd just do it from down here. Just go up the steep front of it, and then come down this way. Just do it on its own. And if you're into Birketts, you could do that Kirk Fell as well. No, it's been good. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do the usual. The liking, subscribing, ringing the notification bell, commenting, sharing, all the usual malarkey. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Tra!